Welcome to chapter 10, the book of 2 Samuel. David is now in his kingship, and he welcomes, he's conquered different nations around him, but apparently the Ammonites weren't a problem because the king was a friend. We find out here his name was Nahash down below, and it says, "And it came to pass after these things," the conquering of these other nations, all the way up to the Euphrates far north, that the king of the sons of Ammon died. Ammon today is down here to the east of Jerusalem. Ammon, Jordan, is the capital today. It's the name of the city, Ammon. And they still have control over the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. So the Ammonites are still around, basically, in the form of the country of Jordan. And Hanan, his son, reigned instead of him, instead of the king that was reigning. And David said, "I will perform an act of kindness," here 41:60, to do, here perform. You could do, "I will do an act of kindness with Hanan, son of Naash, in which manner his father performed an act of kindness with me." Doesn't say what he did unless I missed it in the past. And David sent to comfort him, Hanan, by the hand of his bondman, concerning his patros, paternal, from there, his father. And the servants of David came into the land of the sons of Ammon. And the rulers of the sons of Ammon said to Hanan, their master, "Is it for David to glorify your father before you, that he sent to you comforters?" But is it not, however, that they should search the city and spy it? For to survey it, David sent his servants to you. So this reminds me of later the story of David's son, Rehoboam, where he goes up north to take the country, the 10 tribes of Israel, into his kingdom of Judah, where the people despise the tax person that he sent up there to survey it, and killed him. And here, they didn't kill him, but what did they do? It says, "And Hanan took the servants of David and shaved their poganos," their beards, "and cut off their uniforms in half unto their hips, and sent them out." So their garments probably went down to their feet, so they cut them so it was right below their behinds, I suppose you could call it that, butts, and they shaved their beards. And to these people, shaving a man's beard was almost a sacrilege. These people, apparently, most of them were bearded, just as most of the Muslims today all have beards. I have a beard myself, but many years I didn't have. So, and if somebody shaved my beard, I wouldn't really feel that was some type of a sacrilege, but I suppose if they cut my clothes up and I had to go half naked, maybe I would be that way, be upset. And it was reported to David, there's the Alpha and the Gamma, Apingilan. We have an Anga, that is a reporter, a messenger, an Angelos, Apingilan, told David concerning the men. I forgot I mentioned I was going to pronounce some of these verses, so I'll do that one and this one here. Ke apestilin is apantin avton. Oti isen I andres iti masmeni sfodra. Ke ipen o vasilefs. Kathisate in eriko. Eos tu anatile tus pogonasimon. Ke epistrophisis they. And he sent to meet them, for the men were dishonored exceedingly. And the king, Vasilev, said, well, stay in Jericho until your beards rise. Now, Jericho is just right here across from Amman. You can see it right there on the map behind my camera. And you shall return. And the sons of Ammon saw that the people of David were disgraced. They knew what they had done, or the king had done. And the sons of Ammon sent and hired the Syrian Vithrab and the Syrian Siva, 20,000 footmen of these men, and the king of Maha, 1,000 men, and the one of Istob, 12,000 men. So 12,000, 12, 13, 23, 33,000 men. And David heard, acoustics from that word, and sent Joab, and all the force of the mighty ones. Gets the army ready to go against Ammon. And the sons of Ammon came forth and deployed for Polemon by the door of the gate. Polemon, polemics, is a derivative. And the Syrian Siva and Rob and Istob and Macha were by themselves in the field. And Joab beheld that it came to pass that the war was facing him from the face or the front right opposite, and at the rear that he chose from out of all the young men of Israel, and they deployed right opposite Syria. They were at the rear. Apparently, they're in pretty bad shape. They're in the front and in the back. And the rest of the people he put into the hand of Abishai, his Adelphu brother. And they deployed right opposite the sons of Ammon. So Joab, the general of David, is against the Syrians, and his brother Abishai against the sons of Ammon. And these two people have been allies in different times. They've fought against Israel in the War of Independence, joined against Israel. And other times also, generally, Jordan would join Syria. And then Egypt also. And Joab said, if Syria should strengthen over me, then you shall be to me for deliverance. And if the sons of Ammon should be strengthened over you, then I will come to deliver you. So whichever one is being attacked the worst, the other one would help. Be manly in the imperative, for we should be strengthened for our people and for the cities of our God, Joab says. So Joab was a pretty rough character, killed Abner, and did things that were brutal, but yet he mentions God, the cities of our God. So there is that part of him that is a Jew, and is proud of Israel and Judah and king. And the Lord will do good in his eyes, the people. And God will do good in God's eyes. And Joab approached, and his people with him for war against Syria. And then now this is Joab, up probably further north. And they fled from his face, and the sons of Ammon beheld that Syria has fled, and they fled from the face of Abishai, and entered into the city, probably Ammon. And Joab returned from the sons of Ammon and came into Jerusalem. So Joab apparently came down after defeating the Syrians, came down to Ammon, and then after they were defeated, he went back into the the city. Then he went over to Jerusalem to tell David. And Syria beheld that it failed in front of Israel. That's Damascus is the capital. And they gathered together at the same place. And Hadarezer, Adar-azar, sent and gathered together the Syrian from the other side of the river. Now, the river probably would have been the Euphrates, I imagine. And they came unto Elam and Sovak, and Sovak, the archistrategos. And you can add that to your English derivatives book. It's in green here. Archi is the chief, and strategos, chief of the strategy, commander-in-chief of Adar-azar, was in front of them. And it was reported, there again is Apingile, to David, and he gathered synagogue, a synagogue is a gathering of people. He gathered together all Israel and passed over the Jordan and came to Elam. So, well, now, whether these people here on the other side of the river, I'm not sure if these people could have been, I suppose, from down further south. I don't know, because it doesn't say which river. But here it does say which river they came over the Jordan. And Syria deployed before David and waged war with him. A polemics, war, and this is the verbal form, to wage war with him, or warred with him. And Syria fled from the face of Israel. And David killed of the ones from Syria 700 chariots, armata, we have armaments, and 40,000 horsemen. And Sovak, his commander-in-chief, he struck, and he died there. And all the kings of the bondmen of Adar-azar beheld that they failed in front of Israel. Syria failed again. And they deserted after Israel and served to them, to Israel. And Syria feared to yet again deliver the sons of Ammon. So Ammon now is a tributary to Israel, King David. Our next chapter, chapter 11, one of the most famous chapters in the Bible. And we will find out all about, go through the story of David and Bathsheba. Hope you'll join us in chapter 11. Until then, God bless.